assets. Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this important opportunity to also weigh in on this motion, which is to repossession of movable assets by lending institution due to non-performing loan. Let me start by thanking the mover of this motion, Senator Wahome Wamatinga, for bringing this very timely motion to this House that we need as a House to seek ways in which we can help our youth who are going through a lot of challenges in repaying the loans that they have received from various circles, microfinance institutions, and banks to start businesses in transport. Mr. Speaker, many of the people who are affected in this case are border. And you will acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, that border is a very, very important sector in this country because it contributes about 365 billion shillings every year, which translates to about 1 billion shillings every month. That is not a sector that should be underrated. That is a sector that should be promoted so that we can earn more as a country. Because I think any responsible government would want to maximize on its revenue strategies and not undermine the same revenue strategies that is supposed to be promoting. Mr. Speaker, we have seen a lot of challenges with the youth who are in the border sector, who have taken up loans with some of these institutions, lending institutions, and barely a few months after they have taken the loan and repaid some money, these institutions come and take away their motorcycles. And these youth end up losing a lot of money. And I want to thank my colleague from Nandi, who brought a statement to this House on that matter. Companies like Watu, we cannot allow crook companies to continue operating in this country, to continue suffocating our youth who suffer a lot. Some of them have even made savings to pay deposit for their motorcycles, and then just a few months, because of 1 or 2 months default, these companies come for the motorcycle and take it away. We as members of this House, we have on many occasions assisted the youth to recover their motorcycles. But we need a policy on how this will be done. If we have renegotiation, let there be a renegotiation. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, this motion is particularly very, very important and very timely, and I support it, that we need to amend the relevant laws to allow for the renegotiation of the lending terms so that we don't have these many cases of auctioning. If you open a newspaper, Mr. Speaker, you see so many advertisements of people's businesses being auctioned, or people's houses being auctioned. I mean, I think we need to have a model so that Kenyans are given a chance to renegotiate these loans so that they don't end up losing their lifetime investments. Mr. Speaker, even as we say that, and even as I support this motion, we must also look at the real problem. Mr. Speaker, the real problem is the performance of the economy. When you put so many taxes on everything, then you will get here. People will be unable to service their obligations. So I think we need to relook at the taxation policy in this country and ensure that the taxation policy also supports programs like this, where people can borrow and repay the loans comfortably, where banks can lend money and expect their money to be recovered at some point. And I think when we had the coalition government led by former President Mwai Kibaki, we saw something that has never happened in this country, that banks were looking for people in their homes, in their offices, to give them money. And they did this without minding that these people will be able to pay this money or not. And people were able to pay. But what has changed? That is the real problem that this House must find out, so that even as we seek for amendments to the laws, we must also understand the causes of this. And the cause, Mr. Speaker, is a punitive taxation policy. If the taxation policy is designed in such a manner that every single penny that a Kenya gets wants to be taxed, then we will have this challenge. We know borders are going through a lot of stress. The cost of fuel has gone up, taxation has gone up, and these young people are all over making rights, but they barely raise enough money to support the repayment of their loan. Some of them are even riding motorcycles that don't belong to them. There are investors who have lent the motorcycle to them. Every day they need to pay back their money to the investor and still remain with something to support their families. So I think even as we talk about supporting our people who are going through this challenge, we must also look at the overall economic picture of this country in terms of taxation, in terms of cost of living, and in terms of even the factors of economic performance like the exchange rate, the issues to do with fuel. All these are issues that will eventually affect our people's livelihood, and they will affect them fundamentally. So I support this motion on the basis that we need to renegotiate the terms and ensure that the relevant laws are amended. But at the same time, looking at the bigger picture of economic performance is very important. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I listened to presentations made by various experts before the bipartisan committee. And the experts were all in agreement, including even government institutions like control of budget, that the taxation policy adopted by the Kenya Kwanza government is going to suffocate our economy. And you know, when we talk about this thing, we don't talk about it because we are in the opposition. We talk about it because we are Kenyans. I think it's important to have a look at the many taxes that are, and the higher taxes that have been introduced by this regime as part of their strategy to revive the economy. You cannot revive the economy by taxing more. So I think it's important for us to relook at the bigger picture so that we can address issues like the ones Honorable Matinga has eloquently explained and put in his motion. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this motion, but I say that the focus should be on relooking at the taxation policy that the Kenya Kwanza government has come up with, relooking at the high cost of essential items in this country, including fuel, then we will be able to address this issue permanently. Mr. Speaker, we were promised by the Kenya Kwanza government that they are going to ensure that Kenya will go into CRB. And they even told us they have managed to remove 7 million Kenyans from CRB. We are not seeing that, Mr. Speaker. We were told that the model of listing in CRB is going to change. We are not seeing that. But we are seeing our young people being put in CRB. they cannot borrow, and they cannot participate in the economy effectively if they are in CRB. What happened to this? I think as we contribute to this, Mr. Speaker, these are the very essential questions that we must ask ourselves. That what happened to the promise on CRB? What happened to the promise to the hustlers? And I'm happy this motion has been brought by Kenya Kwanza Senator. The bigger question is, what happened to the promise to help hustlers? Mr. Speaker, I support.
What is your point of order, Gloria?
I've already finished.
Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow this to go on record. I stand on point of order 105 on responsibility of statement of facts. Mr. Speaker, you know Senator Osotsi is by now I can say a ranking member. He was once a ranking member, so he understands he cannot mislead the House and the public. The issue of CRB is not as he puts it. And that has been brought on today is specifically on the delivery of the promises that the Kenya Kwanza government gave. Because we are saying, in order to deal with these rogue lenders, we must be able to legislate and present a law. That is why we are looking to amend the Banking Act. That is why we are looking to change those regulations in our financial systems. So by Senator Osotsi trying to mislead people that this government is not, we are overworking. In fact, if you ask me, in terms of these rogue lenders, we want to deal with them squarely, Mr. Speaker. Let Senator Osotsi withdraw that statement and apologize to the hustlers, because that is, we are here for the hustlers.
Senator Gloria, what exactly do you want Senator Osotsi to withdraw or substantiate?
He must substantiate by saying that this government is not dealing with rogue lenders. What does he mean? The motion in itself is dealing with the rogue lenders. By saying that the Kenya Kwanza government is actually not delivering to the promise by not dealing with CRB, yet we are squarely working on that. The Hustler Fund is squarely working on that. And even the issue of CRB, as we speak now, has been changed. So that is misinformation and understanding Order 105 on responsibility for statement of fact. He must substantiate or withdraw.
Senator Gloria, I listened very keenly to Senator Osotsi's contribution. And what he was pointing out was his opinion on the state of the economy and his opinion on the issue of taxation. He mentioned CRB. I think the only thing he has to substantiate is whether or not people have been assisted in being removed on the CRB list or added as he has claimed.
Mr. Speaker, you know, this 105 standing order is continually being misused in this House to curtail debate. You cannot substantiate an opinion. I made an opinion. And Mr. Speaker, just to respond to your directive, I stated in my presentation that there was a promise that 7 million Kenyans were to be removed from CRB. That is a fact. That is a fact. But my only concern was that, yes, that promise was there. But to what extent has that promise been implemented? Because we are leaders. We meet many youth telling us they are in CRB. That's why they cannot borrow. So I think maybe our colleagues on the other side should tell us more about the status of the promise to remove 7 million youth from CRB. Because we continue meeting youth who say they are in CRB and they cannot borrow.
What is your point of order, Gloria? Senator Gloria.
Mr. Speaker, because Senator Osotsi says we are misusing standing order 105, I stand on a point of order for standing on a 104, declaration of interest. A senator who wishes to speak on any matter in which the senator has a proprietary interest shall first declare that interest. Mr. Speaker, let me say, we promised as the Kenya Kwanza government to remove 7 million Kenyans out of CRB. They were removed. Mr. Speaker, I think Senator Osotsi, because he's listed under CRB.
Senator Gloria, I don't think your point of order is relevant here. Senator Osotsi has nothing to declare interest in his opinion. So I think we will move on. Next speaker is Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to congratulate Senator Wahome Wamatinga, the Nyeri Senator, for always bringing issues on very serious motions. I know on a number of occasions that this is an important motion. So, Speaker, ordinarily, the House should be full because one way or another, you will always interact with many Kenyans who have had their assets being repossessed but because of non-performing loans. So, Speaker, where the country is now economically is because we are in post-COVID recovery. I know many Kenyans, and even across the world, not only Kenya, during COVID period, many governments across the country, including Kenya, put in cautionary measures to cushion business people, and even they were being paid, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, therefore, the repossession of movable assets by lending institutions to the non-performing loans, and non-performing loans is where, Mr. Speaker, they are not able to pay. And you know, it's also like international. Kenya now is in the international, both internal and external debt, is standing at more than 10 trillion.